We are, of course, a little bit late because Saulo and I, all right, we love coming to you and we love talking, and we've been kind of, rebuilding this, getting ready for a special type of announcement and switch on the broadcast here soon, and we're going to do some things in the future. So we've been kind of gearing up, getting ready, taking our time, having some fun. And today, of course, we are eating our wings. Saulo and I were eating wings, enjoying stuff, and then we recognized we were starting to test out some new software. So we were a little bit late getting the software set up because I'm learning how to use this. So I get to do some driving on the computer here and selecting some images. So that's going to go a little bit crazy. Saulo is working on his Wirecast streaming setup. We've been at this for a while, and we absolutely, we love our free nature way of doing business. So I'll be honest with you, we were enjoying some Hooters wings. I'm not going to lie to you. The wings are excellent. The Hooters on Wurzbach, where we order our food from, because we kind of do this community meal before we do our podcast, so we can spend some time together, break some bread, just appreciate each other's company here. And here, Sal and myself at Align Mortgage, we bring food in, we have a good time, we sit there and talk and eat. Everybody's welcome to join us. If you ever want to come in, let me know, shoot me a message. You can come in and join us for wings and soda before we do the podcast. And then we recognize, oh man, we've got to get some of our tech up and running. So look, bear with us tonight. I promise you, as we get a little bit better at this, where I'm controlling some of these things, you're absolutely going to enjoy the podcast. Now, we got big stuff coming. We've been talking about that as we try to kind of rebrand this and turn it into more of really a political engagement, a campaign engagement. We start back into the city elections that are coming up in May of 21. And when we come into January, though, is when we're going to start to see people announcing for public office, running for elections. Now, look, we get it. People are always running for office. It seems like anytime you turn on TV, there's somebody running for some office somewhere, some city, county, wherever. City elections happen every 2 years. They're coming back here starting probably about January 15th. We'll see the filing period open up, and candidates have 1 month to declare their intention to run for public office all the way through February 15th or so. And then we get into election season, and all 10 council members and the mayor are up for re-election. We have termed out council members, so we're going to have this real big focus changing for us. And we've just been trying to have fun with it up until then, just making sure we're ready to go. Maybe some rebranded graphics, maybe a new logo. We never know what that's going to look like. But we appreciate you being here, and we got some topics tonight we're going to hit and run through. And I'm going to be in control of some of the items. Saulo's going to control some, so bear with us as we learn. So, want to thank our sponsors, the people who make this happen. As always, they go first and foremost to Align Mortgage of Texas. They let us film in this spot. They let us bring our energy. The podcast, that's Chris Cano, Tony Diaz, Cody Carrasquillo. That is Align Mortgage of Texas, the number one VA lender in the state of Texas, soon to be the nation. I'm not kidding you. If you're a veteran, know a veteran, you need a home loan, or you have a home loan right now, you want to refinance it, call these men and women who live on this mantra, their slogan, their life message, faith, family, coworkers, and community. And we always say that here on the show. We love that their first item on their list of to-dos isn't making, notice it doesn't say on there, profit, faith, family. No, it says faith, then family. And that's what we love about it, coworkers and community. Chris, Tony, and our friend Cody as well. We appreciate you. We're thankful for you. The time and the space to let us do and say the things that we think matter. And it's just one point of view, but it's a free form and opportunity. So thank you to Align Mortgage of Texas. We want to put up our friend Tyler Hall at Speedy Salt. Now, we love Tyler, and he has always been a big time supporter of us. Tyler created his own small biz where he delivers salt before you even know you need it for your water softener in your house. Give him a call. He's just a fantastic guy. I don't want to go too far into why Tyler's been in and out, but let's just say, I'm going to say this much. Tyler donated a kidney. I think I can say that, right? That's pretty common to somebody very special. And he came back today, the first day I've seen him probably in a month. So Tyler came back light one kidney today, right? It wasn't by accident. He didn't end up in a bathtub somewhere in a pool of ice. He did it on his own. And we love him because he supports us and shows up. He's a man of faith, and he just continues doing good things. Anybody who's willing to give a kidney to anybody else in this planet, right, deserves recognition. Tyler, we love you. We appreciate you. Speedy Salt. Our friend Louis Garcia, AAA Garcia Bell Bonds. God, we can't get enough of Louis Garcia. I don't know about those handcuffs in the middle of his chest right there, but we love the guy. We appreciate you, family-owned business. If you get rung up, let's be honest here, and you're innocent until proven guilty, unless, of course, you're a Republican. But you're innocent until proven guilty in the state of Texas and the nation. For now, you are. If you do get in some trouble, though, AAA Garcia Bail Bonds and our man, Louis Garcia, his family will take care of you. Give him a holler, shout, let him know you need help. He'll take care of you, man. Tell him Brockhouse sent you. And I can't promise you he's going to not charge you more, but he will be very appreciative of the fact the podcast takes care of him. Louis, we love you. Appreciate you helping us out. 2 realtor partners that join us as well, Susan Bielicki, eXp Realty, and Brian Pena at the Torado Group. Now, we put 2 up there because it's always best to find people you know and appreciate. There's that handsome devil right there, Brian Pena. The guy is, he needs a tie. I think I'm going to tell him next time to put a tie. I'm going to put a tie on, man. We're going to change the game here. But that dude is just relaxed and chill, loves first responders, got a buying program. He appreciates it. Susan Bielicki, the daughter of one of our biggest supporters, actually, Ray Rodriguez. But Susan is all over it, military relocation specialist. We appreciate them both, and thank you to both for always hopping in and helping us do things like the food and other stuff that we can get going here with the podcast. So that's the sponsors. Now, one question makes a lot of sense right now, and this is kind of where we need to think about. And in a second here, I'm going to take over the screen for a minute. We're going to try a couple of things. It's going to get a little weird. We are entering a period, again, of potential shutdown. So what we've seen from across the country, the nation, and now it's trickled back down to San Antonio, right? We're going to get into, do you agree with shutting down San Antonio? We are in. Put that in the comment section. Let us know what you think. The problem is we have 2 elected officials, Nelson Wolff and Ron Nirenberg, right? If you ever doubt who these 2 people are, just log on at about 6:10 every day and bore yourself to death, right, with this daily briefing that comes in and tells us the collapse of the world, everything's falling apart, our community, the nation, the city, and it is just this onslaught of negativity from Ron Nirenberg and Nelson Wolff. So this comes on every day at 6:10 as they try to do things to stave off the COVID pandemic. They talk about response rates. They talk about immunizations, potential vaccine plans. They kind of cover the gambit of the whole thing. They are incredibly, there's no motivation of anything positive coming out of these daily briefings. I don't hear it from anybody else either, that they watch these things and they think, wow, man, I feel motivated, right, and protected by these 2 elected officials. Here's a dirty little secret and a fact. In case you didn't know this, Ron Nirenberg and Nelson Wolff rarely work with anybody else when they're deciding their daily briefing points. Now, you may find that hard to believe, but here is the truth. Neither of them. We'll just talk about Nirenberg. Let's just take that for a second because he leads the San Antonio City Council. Ron Nirenberg works with nobody on the city council prior to his announcement of any of these changes to bars, restaurants, school closings, whatever. Talks to nobody. Nelson Wolff, from what we understand as well, is not necessarily working with Commissioner's Court as well. So what you have are 2 elected officials showing up in their daily political podcasts, their personal television ad every day telling us what we cannot do and fear-mongering our way across the city to destruction. We have a COVID-19 pandemic issue. We know that. We have rising rates. We have issues in restaurants and bars, according to them. We don't know when we're getting our vaccination. There's all these things that are coming out of their mouth. And citizens are sitting back and watching this thinking, okay, what do I believe? First of all, if they're watching it at all, and then if they are watching it, they've got to sit back and think, okay, what's the true story? What are we seeing as a community? Not just demagoguing what's horrible, wrong, and the destructive nature, but what is our plan, the ideas and the things, the positive issues that we can get out of growing and rebounding as a community. We're going to get into that tonight. But I do want to know, what do you think about shutting down San Antonio? Because another order came out in the last couple of days that is shutting down bars for the remainder, right? The remainder of an unknown period of time. There's about, I saw originally it was about 26 maybe bars that were left standing. So a bar is a straight bar. It cannot be serving food or anything of those other things. Because right now, bars who serve food can stay open at particular percentages and capacities. But the mayor and judge, and I saw today, it was about 425 establishments that are facing shutdown starting Thursday for an indefinite period of time. Here is a key fact that I want you to think about. Nowhere, from what we can tell, right? We do not see a lot of data coming out, period, because of the open records request issues. The city has shut things down. They're they're hiding a lot of information out of City Hall. When you cannot do an open records request and get a return on information or data, we have problems in our local government. That is a fact, period. The city just came out about a week ago and said, we're going to start answering data requests, but they haven't for about 8 months. They shut it down. So what we're seeing is this. Nowhere can we find clear fact. You want to be a fact-driven leader, Ron Nirenberg, Nelson Wolff. You want to deliver and live in facts. Live with this fact. Nowhere is there contact tracing proof or data or statistical proof that restaurants and bars are super spreader locations in the city of San Antonio. I will tell you this, and I speak, I don't know, personally, I'm going to speak from my point of fact on this. Yeah, you can say it's an opinion, but I'm starting to believe this is complete fact. You are as safe in a restaurant as you are anywhere else in this city. A bar, probably a little different, but a restaurant and a bar, right, you are as safe as anywhere else, as long as the bar adheres to the basics of social distancing and mandates mask wearing inside. The business runs and operates as well. I know for a fact, I don't go to many bars, so I can't tell you what it's like in a bar. I can tell you what it's like in a restaurant. Restaurants are safer than your own home. The events we're seeing, Salo, and you jump in on this if you want to change my mind, but what we're seeing from a contact tracing perspective, from a spreading COVID-19 infection spread rate, what we're seeing is occurring more so. Do we need to flip over here? Yeah, we're going to go around. What we're seeing is more of that action and activity happening at home. That's where we're seeing the interaction of family groups and events in the household is a little more dangerous than going to a restaurant. Because I don't know about you, but when I go to a restaurant, what do I see? I see businesses that are fully socially distant compliant. I can't walk into a Jim's and not see half the damn chairs blocked off and unavailable. I can't go into Los Barrios or Violas Ventanas and not see the place half shut down and half the tables gone. Every employee is wearing a mask. The management wearing a mask. The patrons, the visitors to the restaurant, all masked up. The minute they sit down, masks off when they eat. So the restaurant, right, even the restaurant bar that's operating as both, are completely following our social distancing guidelines, and it is a safe environment to go to. Now, granted, we're not operating in a full 100% capacity, but I believe we must come to a point where we open everything back up again. Are we seeing these spikes? Of course we are. Do we have it as a result of the Thanksgiving holiday? Yes. But when the city leadership forces everybody to go back home and stay indoors, what in the hell do you think's going to happen? The home events are what are spreading COVID-19. You see these statistics everywhere. Nowhere is the city right now able to produce definitive data that it's a restaurant or bar that's doing it. Are there spot cases where they may have traced it? Of course. But in no case or circumstance are these super spreader events or locations. They're just not. In fact, I know of one super spreader event that was from the chairperson of the Hispanic Chamber. Apparently somebody had a wedding and that was a super spreader event and half the people got shut down and quarantined, including city council members. And that was a leader of our community. That event was a super spreader event, but not at any restaurant I know of. Nobody's getting shut down in that manner or form. So it's interesting who picks the favorites, right? The winners and the losers. That's what we have to call on the carpet, because at the end of the day, the city has to open back up. We are destroying and putting in position, right, the destruction of up to 40% of our restaurant business. And that includes now our bars, right? Yes, I don't know what's going on in bars because I'm not sitting in them, so I'm not hanging out in them on a daily basis, so I can't tell you exactly what's occurring. But I do know that everybody's hypersensitive to social distancing and taking care of their patrons. City Hall doesn't even trust the restaurant owners, the bar owners, the combo restaurant bar owners, doesn't even trust them enough to let them know what's going to happen to them before they enact these principles and these shutdowns and these restrictions in movement. Last week, if you remember at Thanksgiving time, that Wednesday before Thanksgiving, they came out with an order shutting down from 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. restaurants and bars. I'm going to tell you another fact. Nobody in the restaurant and bar industry even knew about it. Nobody knew about it. So here's what I would tell you. I'm going to read some comments and see what's happening here. The key facts are this. We've got a city hall that doesn't work with people. It's not enough just because you have the power. You're not elected to make decisions for us. There's two types of politicians, and I've said this before, that go to City Hall. One is the one that thinks you elected me, and I'm going to make these decisions for you, and until you tell me I'm fired, unelected, or termed out, I'm going to continue to make these decisions for you. Thank you. Have a great day. We're seeing that right now. No collaboration, no involvement of business leaders or community leaders, restaurants. They're not even involving their own members of the San Antonio City Council. The second type of politician is the one that's elected and goes down there and says, yeah, I'm bringing a message. I'm bringing a voice of the people to the conversation. And here's what I've done to find out what people want. So they're a messenger, right? They carry the message. Do they ultimately have to make the final decision? Yes. Are they entrusted to make the final vote? Yes. Are they entrusted to help decide the direction and spending of our city resources? Yes. Do they do it in a collaborative manner where people know? Absolutely. Those are the two types of politicians we have, and we suffer right now because we have a city hall. And you don't even have to believe me. You say, man, Greg, you're living in la-la land because you're going to run for mayor and you're trying to score political points. Fine. Put all that aside for a second and think about what you see every day on Ron Nirenberg and Nelson Wolff's daily briefing. What do you see? Two dudes. That's it. For the most part, it's those two. If Nelson can't make it, do you see any other member of the city council show up to help out? Nope. Do you hear or see any member of the city council participating in any briefing, update, or anything when it comes to the direction of the entire city? Yeah, nope. It's because they don't even know. So there's 10 members who each represent about 150 to 160,000 residents. Each member in each council district represents those people. They don't even know what's happening prior to the information coming out. So now imagine you're just regular John Q. citizen. Do you think you have a chance to find out why these decisions are being made, have input into them, be a part of the process? If the council member, the 10 people who work down there, and look, you can disagree all day long with your colleagues at City Hall, all day long. You want to fight and argue over facts and principles and say, you're a ridiculous Republican, you're a crazy liberal, you have no idea what you're doing, you're clueless, you're a terrible... You can fight with your council colleagues all day long. Whatever issue it is, you want to fight with them. This is not of an environment that really is that helps us to get into the argument or fight. But you have to include, because these issues affect every one of us. So you don't have to take my word for it. Just simply watch the actions of Nelson Wolff and Ron Nirenberg. Nobody is with them. They may bring up the obligatory city department head, the Metro Health leader, or Dr. Wu from whatever Metro Health director she is, or Dr. Bridger, whoever pops up, right? Whoever pops up when something's inconvenient, I get it. We see bodies come in and out. For the most part, though, it's Ron and Nelson sitting there acting like dictators and kings of the universe, including no one. That has to change, because if it doesn't change, what we get is this insulated decision-making process, and people cannot prepare. Take, for instance, like I said, last week's shutdown of restaurants and businesses from 10 p.m. on. Folks, bar owners and restaurant owners purchase their food prior to the weekend, right? They have a preparation. They know the number of bodies they're going to get in the door. They know I need X amount of napkins. I need X amount of vodka. I need X amount of tortillas, or whatever the setup is. They recognize the influx of people they're going to have. They know what their sales are projected to be. They go out and purchase the goods to meet that expected workload over a weekend. And a weekend like Thanksgiving weekend, it's a huge workload, right? They're expecting to finally make some money. And they get partially shut down, and they cannot move their goods or products. That food, that product has a shelf life if you're in a service-related industry. And that shelf life maybe is a week or two at the best. So they're losing product, sales, employees are losing manpower hours. It goes right down the line, and they have no chance to prepare for it. None. So you don't get just pissed off that, well, they have to shut it down. We all understand public safety and health risks, and we can deal in data and fact. We'll put that discussion over here for a second. But at the end of the day, the number one mistake is nobody's a part of the decision-making process, and they don't know about it until it pops up on the news. But that is a hallmark of the last 3 years or so now at City Hall. You don't know what's happening until it pops up in Isis Romero or Steve Spriest or whoever on KSAT tells you you're about to get shut down. People don't know unless some other source delivers the information to them. Breakdown. That is simply not going to work. And then you have to be inclusive and grab people and make sure they have an opportunity to at least know, right? Like, tell us what you think, council member. Here's the biggest, and the other thing you need to think about, just take a step forward and say, okay, what else is the problem here? A council member represents 150 to 160,000 people, right? I said that. When you ignore the council member, you ignore all of those people he or she represents. I don't care if that person is Clayton Perry and Ron Nirenberg thinks he's completely insane. Clayton Perry represents 150,000 people who deserve and demand to be a part of the process. So when you ignore a member and they're not part of the debate or discussion, you ignore tens of thousands. You cannot run away from that as a leader in our city. We have a dysfunctional and broken and fractured city council in perhaps the worst period in public health crisis for sure, but one of the most difficult years the city of San Antonio has ever seen. We have a fractured council that's not part of the process, not part of the deliberation, not part of it, doesn't get to include and say things like, well, we've got $80 million of CARES Act money. Perhaps we should share that money with small businesses. They don't get to be part of that discussion. They don't get to be part of the discussion where they get out and stand up in front of the community and say, these are the things this council team's working on. I'll give you a great example. You can go back, remember Phil Hardberger, right? Back when Hurricane Katrina hit and Hardberger was the mayor, we brought in refugees from New Orleans. It was a fantastic time period for the city of San Antonio on a national level, like national recognition Mayor Hardberger received. In that process, if you remember a few things about it, if you paid attention back then, in that process was council members leading the charge. Council members. I specifically remember Delicia Herrera, right? District 6 city councilman. She was my city councilwoman back then. We saw her at the podium leading the discussion. We saw Richard Pettis. We saw all these people, the Chip Haas's of the world, all these people over the Mayor Hardberger's time period, a part of the discussion and a part of the leadership decisions. We don't have that. So when you don't have that, you get this sense of, well, what's going on here? And why can't we come together and understand what's happening? So those are the things, right? So when you think about shutting down the city, what concerns a lot of people that I speak to is who is actually making these decisions? Because it doesn't match how the city feels. Now, we've got to be careful. Sal, give it over to me. I want to put up some facts here real quick. All right, give it on over. I want to show some things here, right? Yeah, give me up. Well, no, you can put them up, and I'll drop them in here. Can I get this done? We're going to talk about that in a second. This comes up every day, right? So be prepared. Watch live. Every day, the mayor and Nelson go on television and get their free publicity and press, and really that's all it is. By all accounts, I hear from insiders at City Hall that Ron Nirenberg has to do this every day. He demands it. I don't think Nelson Wolff necessarily wants to be on. From what I'm hearing, Nelson Wolff really doesn't care to be on television every day. It's Ron Nirenberg that's pushing it, right? Because it's a platform and it's free media, right? And so they get on there and they do these things. And here's some of the results of what we're seeing. We're seeing a growth now in our risk level being moderate. You can see all these stats at the City of San Antonio's website. City of San Antonio website, you just Google it, you can see the COVID-19 response and statistics, testing locations, school information, everything. And here are some metrics right here is what we're looking at. Man, I like controlling this myself. Woo! Feels good. Yeah, feels good. Check that out. We're at 88,100. All this data is available, at least this data we can see. It's not drill down data or information, but it is high-level case information, right? So if you look at it, what you see is 88,196, 1,210 new cases, 1,397 deaths. Again, we pray for those families, those people themselves, but the families as well. Here's the cumulative deaths by report date, and you'll notice we are in a spike period here. The age group where we continue to see the highest number of cases is 18 to 40-year-olds. And the race, look down at it, race and ethnicity, which we're learning a lot about COVID-19, and the information is getting very in-depth about race, ethnicity, and its effects on COVID-19, how those two interact to cause greater problems in our minority community. And then our cases by gender, split pretty evenly in the death by gender. You'll see the men are outweighing that case right there. And then New Braunfels up there at the top, you see that where it says Kerrville, New Braunfels, that's the San Antonio heat map. These are some basic bits of information. So if you're sitting at home, you want to make a decision for yourself and your family, you can look at these things and recognize, okay, where are we at? What do I have to do? I want to take my family out. Do I want to eat? Where is this going? Especially leading into the Christmas holiday, because that's what they're already saying is, don't have Christmas. It's like, shut down Christmas. I mean, okay. But you know what? Don't hang out with your family. So I don't know what in the world you're supposed to do other than just sit in your home in your pajamas and just hang out and wait until Nelson and Ron tell you can hit the road again, because they're going to shut this entire baby down. But this is some of the data they're working and utilizing. But again, as citizens, we're not getting, and by all means, there has been a lot to be desired with the city's contact tracing efforts, right? We have heard distinctly that there are data problems and an inability really to get good information out of it. And if you look at Metro Health, all due respect, hardworking men and women in the rank and file of Metro Health, but we see a revolving door of leadership coming out of Metro Health, and that doesn't bode well for the city of San Antonio when the leadership simply just moves in and out. And they can't keep somebody running the ship, so you get politicians more involved, and that's a bigger problem, right? Because we've seen across the country what happens when politicians get involved in a lot of this decision-making. Take Gavin Newsom, for instance, in California. He can tell you to stay in your house while he's hanging out at the French Laundry restaurant, right, with a $10,000 bar bill. I mean, that's fantastic for them. I don't know if you saw this, Salo, but there was a Fox News had an interview with the business owner in California. They shut down everything. Watch, because this is what you have to remember, too. What happens elsewhere in the nation, San Antonio has this complex. The San Antonio leadership has a complex where they feel like they need to, bring other people's problems to San Antonio. Like if there's, we adopt their cause, right? Like if something bad's happening in another city, well, it must be in San Antonio too. I don't understand that mentality. Like, it's insane to think that the problems elsewhere equate to San Antonio problems. I don't get it. I don't know why city leadership strives to be Portland, Austin, San Francisco, or wherever. They have this big city problem, but a little mindset problem where we're trying to be somebody else and we try to adopt other people's problems or issues. They look for leadership elsewhere instead of inside. That's how City Hall operates, right? What we do here at home. But that's just how they go. I mean, that is what San Antonio does. So what you see happen in California and Austin, I would anticipate it comes to San Antonio pretty quick, right? And they play this game where they watch and follow these shutdowns across the rest of the nation. So be prepared for it here in San Antonio. And they're blaming the same things, right? Don't do Halloween. Don't do Thanksgiving. Stay away from your family, right? Stay indoors, stay indoors, stay indoors. Don't go to restaurants. Don't go to bars. We don't have any data, don't go to restaurants. We're not saying, we don't know. There's no proof that those are super. Don't go there, though. Stay home where you're more likely to transmit. And today there was an update. We're going to try to see what it looks like for schools. So they had an update today. Let's look at some of the comments here while we're at it here. What do we got here? We get any comments up on the wall up there? Or are we going to? Let's see. Educated people running the show. Paula Luis is watching. Hello, Greg. Grace Medina from District 6. All right, hello from District 6. Ron Atkinson and Gabriel Maldonado. Miss Rubio, how are you? Carrie Hall is watching. Boy, we getting some people on here today. Where's my comments? Steve Peterson, working for Councilman Perry out there. A lot of District 6 people. I appreciate that. District 9, go Susan, go. We've got different people tuned in here. Elaine Pena's in. Kathy Tamayo, slow down. I went to Wolf's Lowe's today with no mask. I was hoping to run into him. I purchased a new Hey, you know what? I accidentally walked into Lowe's the other day without a mask on. I felt ridiculous. I was like, oh, man, I think I made a total mistake here. Nobody told me anything. I didn't even notice it. Nope, not shut down. Nope, too many people losing their jobs, homes, and not one of them is a politician. That, I tell you, is a fact. That's a great point from Nancy Mace right there. That's a good point. Cut your check. I mean, I'd probably have to check myself on that too. That's an interesting comment, right? Like if people are unemployed and you're staying home and people are struggling in this city, but yet you're drawing a check, it's easy to shut people down when you're making your $100,000 a year. It's easy to say, hey, stay home, buddy. You know what? We're shutting that restaurant bar down. This is what pisses me off about City Hall. They're job snobs. And I take this one to heart. A job snob doesn't care about the job that isn't high profile or techie, Green New Deal, cutting edge, engineering, and all these other fancy trades that they want to put people into. They want to cross-train people, right? They want to educate them and get them out of what they call, check this out, low-wage jobs. Low wage. You're a low wager if you work in a restaurant as a wait staff. You're low wage if you're a bar back. Low wage in itself is, you want to talk racism, you want to talk sexism, you want to talk all this stuff? Talk about you calling these people low wage earners. If that doesn't piss you off, I don't know what does. Because people earn a living in the restaurant and bar business, in the janitorial business, right? Service-related industries. Nobody cares right now at City Hall about what happens to these people. But they'd rather train you to go be a truck driver or work in a solar panel installation or do some engineering work, or they'd rather get you out of that job because it's low wage. We don't like those jobs. Here's another truth. City's lost 150,000 jobs in the last year. The workforce program only going to help 20,000. What about the other 130? What about that? What about those people? You know what? They're low wagers. We don't need those jobs anyways. Let them go. Let them go. You don't have to take my word for it. Their actions show they don't care about these positions or employment opportunities. And yeah, sure, they can say, well, you know what? Somebody's working at McDonald's or in a drive-thru. That's where kids start their employment opportunities. Not everybody needs to make $25 an hour. They have to earn it and get there. So somebody working at a drive-thru at McDonald's, right? That's a job-starting, customer service learning position. Same thing as being a waiter at Los Barrios restaurant or Mary Lou's, right? Or Papado. You're sitting there, you're bussing tables, you're getting it done, you're knocking off customer service, you're working, you're learning. Those jobs are going to be valuable employment opportunities. We need to stop demagoguing and tearing apart, right, these jobs that we're losing by the tens of thousands. We've got to figure that out. So yes, right, yes. Don't be a job snob about it. Don't think, well, I don't want you in that. We don't even want that job. We need to bring in somebody else completely, right? We need to change who you are totally. Yet, the city does nothing from a job hunting perspective, like our Economic Development Foundation, our Economic Development Department. We really haven't been successful. The mayors, past mayors, we haven't really been successful, if you think about it, since AT&T left. Yeah, we got Toyota. But when AT&T took off, what does this city produce from a job hunting function? We haven't. All right, we got a few that pop in here or there, but for the most part, San Antonio is this type of, they're a hardworking, family, faith-based group of people who will take the job and work hard. But when the jobs are gone and the city doesn't help the business owner bring them back to life, right, then you can sit there and say, well, we'll retrain these people, 20,000 people. And in 4 years, they're going to make $55,000 a year. It's going to be amazing. In the meantime, we have 10,000 people in the food line at Traders Village. They can't get food. Watch the decisions that are coming out of City Hall and ask yourself, do they represent, right, shutting this down, not talking about bars and restaurants, the employees there. I'm strictly talking about the employees, not caring whether or not they get the next check, not any facts or data that these are the problems in San Antonio. It's like when Ron came out and said auto dealerships were causing problems in COVID spread. Complete and totally no facts, factless. What are we doing in holding these people accountable? Accountable. Put me back up on the screen here. I'm going to grab some more information. Here's some things that we're seeing too. You got me a power cord? Yeah, maybe hook me up right here with some power. I'm going to go through it right here. Salah's got me on the power. All right, people. All right. Greg Abbott has launched a program to provide small business with rapid tests for employees. How do we help businesses get there? $1 on a business ledger, right? Any dollar, anywhere, is a bonus. And by that I mean, if you save a restaurant owner, a bar owner, a small business owner, Papa's Burgers, wherever, if you save them $1 anywhere on their cost structure, that is $1 can get invested back in an employee. Here we have them helping with rapid tests. Governor Abbott's launched a small program to help that out. That is a huge opportunity. And we come into some more items right here. Don't forget about this. Bars ordered close on Thursday, right? Significant increase in COVID-19 cases cited as reason for reclosure of bars. Well, hopefully they'll produce the facts on that. But you can't be mixing bars with restaurants either, right? So we have to look at how this is working. What the bars have done, to their credit, to stay alive, is they began serving food, right? They changed their licensure so that they also are serving food. City Hall needs to trust these business owners that they're going to do the right thing. Don't punish the lot for the couple that are breaking the rules. Go after the couple that are breaking the rules. But for the vast majority of our service-related industry places that we go out and we do the job, I don't see them shutting down H-E-B. I can tell you this right now. I know probably why. I mean, it's H-E-B, right? Like, they're a big donor. I mean, we don't want to hurt their feelings. But nobody's shutting down H-E-B or any of these other big-time employers. But they'll go after bars and different types of restaurants, even though I can walk in H-E-B in the beer line and see just as many people there as I would at the friendly spot. Or I can see just as many people hanging out in an H-E-B aisle buying candy or milk or wherever in H-E-B. I see just the same level as if I walked into a restaurant in the West Side. Yeah, but we're not going to do that to them. We're going to cut the 80% that's the small business owners in San Antonio. We're going to hurt them. Because check it out, that's the reason why. So now we have to shut down these bars. I don't know. You want to talk about picking winners and losers? That's what's happening at City Hall. Here's the executive order that Judge Wolf issued right there. And we keep going right down the line right here. This is an interesting one too. Here are the citations issued for December for violation of the health emergency declarations. Here they are right here. Check this out. One of the other great things that I think that City Hall should be absolutely proud of is how they've turned our city into a bunch of rats. Like, can I call, you know what? Please call us on your neighbor. If you see a restaurant, it's out of whack, man, call on them. Have SAPD show up out there, because you know what they should be? You know what SAPD should be doing? They should be finding out if there's mask wearing going on there instead of busting real crime on the south side. What? I talked to a restaurant bar owner just the other day. This person said, I received 12 visits from SAPD over the weekend. The bar closure rules did not apply to this location because this person served food. It wasn't a straight bar, but residents don't know the intricacies of the laws, so they call the cops and they turn themselves, they're ratting out bars or restaurants or whoever. So our SAPD are taking calls to go check mask usage and mask wearing at businesses that are allowed by law to operate at particular capacities across the city. Citizens don't know the intricacies of these things. Look at this. Look at these calls. 18,036 calls. Of that, 3,067, a violation was observed, issued a warning, mask usage 120, other violations 195. No violations observed, folks, 15,000. Check out SAPD. SAPD made 4,579 calls, interactions. I don't know if they actually showed up on site because that's a lot of damn calls for December. 4,579. SAPD was handling that. Folks, we have real crime in San Antonio, and it's not whether or not you're wearing a mask. What in the hell is wrong with City Hall? That doesn't work. DSD is the Development Services Department, the Center City Development Office. Metro Health made the fewest of all of those answers. 4,579 SAPD, no violation. So imagine that. of the 5,220 SAPD calls, City Hall, thank you for turning citizen on citizen. We appreciate you. That's exactly what you did right here. Turn citizen on citizen. And by the way, the citizen is uninformed what the law actually is. Because no violation observed 4,579 times. What a joke. You don't encourage people turning in people unless you have absolutely drilled into everybody's mind what the law actually is. That is ridiculous. We're conditioning like, what do you mean? I tell you what you're conditioning right now. People submit or self-policing, right? So the people are now turning in the citizens are turning in citizens at the behest of City Hall, encouraging this to happen. We've already heard the words, encouraging them to call in. 641 citations. That is it. Out of 5,200. What a total joke. You just coughed. I'm calling the mayor right now. Salo coughed. I'm pretty sure the cough droplets came my way. Come on. Somebody's tax dollars are making these calls. I just had to show that to you. So, I'm going to show you a slide, and I want to know what you think. Because this is the next step, and this is what's coming in the conditioning. Put the screen back on me, Salo. This is a big one. Here it is. Here it is. It's on. Is this our next rat job? Is this the next way we hurt each other as a city? Turning each other in. Is this it? We're all going to get cards if we're vaccinated. So we're going to stand out from each other, right? I don't know. We're going to wear scarlet letters. How are we going to handle this? Are you 100% for mandatory vaccinations?
Wow.
I don't know. I mean, what are we going to do? How about you? I'll tell you right now, I'm going to get the vaccine.
You are?
Oh, yeah, I get it. I know you're not going to.
Nope.
So you're in a
Well,
room
if
right
they
here.
mail it to me.
If they mail it to
They
you.
can mail it to me, and I send it back like they voted. I'll, mail it to
A
me.
mail-in ballots.
Mail-in mandatory vaccine.
We do a mail-in vaccine. So Salo is a hard no.
No.
I'm a yes.
So we're trying to tell people, be careful because you don't want to get the vaccine or you don't want to get COVID. But what a vaccine does, it injects the disease into you.
It triggers. You're right. It triggers your response, right? It triggers your.
So in other words, what we're doing is to bypass all of that and still get it.
You bypass it. That's why they say both Moderna and Pfizer's vaccine have some level of reactions to it, right? Some side effects.
Have you heard the side effects?
The side effects have been as much as flu-like symptoms for a day, COVID-like symptoms for a day, like really, but it goes away after about 24 hours.
They say?
So they're preconditioning your body with the vaccine to react and create these antibodies and all these other things, the vaccine, how it works. But there are significant side effects. But everybody who's taken it has said, look, the side effects I would do and as opposed to getting COVID. Like that is a pretty legitimate comment from most of these people.
Isn't the survival rate better than the possibility of getting side effects?
I don't know, man. I don't know. I think I take the vaccine. What are other people saying in here? Has anybody even commented on that one? Let's check this out here. Hold on.
Would you take the vaccine?
Would you take the vaccine? Because it's coming, man. Hold on.
Oh, there it is.
We got it up there?
That's the question. 100% mandatory vaccines. What do you
100%
think?
mandatory
What do
vaccine.
you
Whoa.
think?
Probably more. Two people died in the trials. No vaccinations. Woo, man. 99% recovery, man. Without a poisonous vaccine, it'll change your DNA. Hey, I've heard that.
Yeah,
Still get the fever. No DNA altering, sterilizing, aborted baby cell vaccine for me. It says vacations. Is that what their thing said? 100% mandatory vacations. Somebody caught it. So, look. Yeah, I love it right there. Somebody caught it. It says vacations. So, what do? Are we preconditioning, right? These are the things that are going to pop up over the next few days. So, we are in a position where we're thinking about our next steps as a city, who and what it is we want to be. And we've probably riffed on this one long enough because it's just a lot of good information. Bars, restaurants, we've talked about it. I love people's comments, man. Nope. I'm sorry. I can't. No vaccine violation of constitutional right. Look, I don't. Nika Cleaver right there. What is she saying? Like Salo says, if it's mailed to me, oh, and no. Work healthy, and we'll be among the first to have it today. Definitely will take it. Look, Karen Karen Rivera right there. She says she's taking it. I will take vacations. Cindy caught it. Cindy caught it.
Catherine will take it because she works for.
I'll take the side effects, Gabrielle and Gregory, versus the more likely potential of contracting COVID. It will not be mandatory. Grace Rose is exactly right. They're not gonna make it mandatory. Now, are they gonna do everything they can to encourage it? Yeah, I would imagine so. Are people gonna get carded and they have to be able to show it to fly and stuff like that? Probably so. Would I take it? I've already said, yeah, I'll take the vaccine. I think it's. I'll take the side effects of that to see what it is. Would I want my children to take it? My 11-year-old son. My wife and I talked about this. We said yes. That doesn't make me any less of a citizen because I say I would take the vaccine, or in this case, the vacation, like Cindy caught.
Hey, is it too soon to talk about fake passports with vaccine?
Oh, yeah. Someone's going to be faking vaccine proof. It's just a matter of time. You're
Here's
going
my
to
ID.
be able to go down to Trader Village and buy a passport saying you took your vaccine, right? But look,
Yeah.
preconditioning, this is where the city's going. This is what we have to think about. It's a no from Anna. Man, there's a lot of no-no-nos on here. They took 20 years on average, as Michelle's talking about. Pharma's going down, the numbers exposing it. Veterans already taking more than their share of shots. Ray, you're absolutely right. As a veteran, I can attest to the fact.
Check out Natalie. Look at what she put.
Natalie Jean, how can you be so nonchalant about injecting aborted fetus cells into your child? Natalie, I'm not being nonchalant about it. I'm thinking about a lot of different things, and we'll do our due diligence on it. This is what I would encourage you. Natalie brings up a good point. You do have to do your due diligence on the vaccine itself and what it means for your family and where you stand on that. So Natalie's absolutely right. But what I do think we have to be very careful about, we cannot turn this into a shame game like the mayor and Ron Nur, the mayor and the judge, fear porn, are doing to the rest of us. We can't then turn in on ourselves as citizens and shame each other whether we take the vaccine or not. I know my friend Salo, he's not going to take the vaccine. And I respect that and I have to. For my family, we're going to make a different decision. But it's okay. Do we want to encourage this? Do we want to talk about it? To what lengths will we go? Those are all worthy discussions. And are we going to see 3 former presidents taking the vaccine from Moderna or Pfizer? Yes. And are they going to try to show it to get comfortability with the? Of course they are, right? As is the city leaders, I'm sure, are going to go on TV and get vaccinated right there. It matters that people feel comfortable and safe with it. And if you don't, you don't, right? And we're not going to mandatory. I hope it doesn't turn into a mandatory vaccine setup because I think that's absolutely wrong.
If you were a mayor.
If I was mayor.
Would you push for people to have a mandatory vaccine?
No mandatory vaccines.
If you were a mayor, you would
No.
fight against it?
No.
Would you tell people, you know what, you would leave it up to them if they want to take it?
You got to leave it up to the individual citizen.
Perfect.
You have no choice. I mean, we have constitutional rights that I think have been disrespected far enough, right? We've torn apart the Constitution, and I agree with that. And the people that run this city right now that are taking away everything they can in an effort, right? And I think they're using it in a lot of different manners. I think that fear-mongering is embarrassing. I think how we've handled it and taken away people's rights in the name of I think some of it is just absolutely abhorrent, needs to change. I would never force or do anything. It's a personal responsibility game. Now, someone will say,
have
hey,
you on
man.
record, Greg. So when you become a mayor, we have you
it's
on
on
record.
now. I'm dead. But look, I think you got to make sure everybody has an opportunity to make the choice that's right for his or her family, like Natalie says, and other people. So a lot of them, I'm not going to take it, and that's okay. And I think there's some things we can do. Now, people get mad. They say, man, I ain't wearing no damn mask either. I'm not doing any of this stuff. I'll tell you what, individual rights, I wear the mask. I don't wear it so much because I walk through Lowe's and I think, damn, man, COVID's right around every corner. I know there are people that are drastically concerned about it in San Antonio. At least half of our city, right, is probably walking around very concerned. They could be asthmatics. It could be children with autoimmune deficiency disease. There could be anything, right? It could be any life issue that somebody around you or you interact with is having problems with, and they're worried for their life. My daughter's an asthmatic. I have care and concern for her. So I think about being around other people. So I mask up just as I will vaccine up to help other people in the community. I don't think it's a price I'm not willing to pay, right? So I'm willing to do those things. That's why I put the mask on, because I think it's right for the rest of the citizens. Do I live in that fear and I'm walking around every corner thinking COVID's got me every day of the week? Nah, man. I'm just enjoying The Crown, watching Downton Abbey, chilling out at Netflix, hanging out with my family, doing the best I can to keep people safe, including my parents who are 70 plus years old, right? 75. So I want to play that and take care of it in a way that really makes other people feel comfortable. Now, masks are one thing. Vaccine, whoo, man, that is a step too far in the United States of America doing anything mandatory. So just my thoughts, and that's where it's at. Let's see what else we got on here. We got a few other thoughts before we get into some memes. I want to do some memes for you here in a little bit. Bring me back up here. What else we got? Let's see here. Let me make sure I've got. We did that one. State of Texas right now. Look, don't forget, coronavirus cases in Texas are soaring again, but this time Governor Abbott says no lockdown coming. No lockdown. Not going to happen.
So if you were a mayor, Greg, and Greg Abbott says no lockdown for Texas, what would you do as a mayor?
Oh, I would not lock down the city. Absolutely not.
Not at all.
No. I think,
because somebody asked, what would you do? Because like we talked before, we can talk about what Ron is doing, but people are asking, Greg, what would you do? How would you handle it?
I think from a clear perspective on shutting down bars, restaurants, small, I don't think we can. I think there is a value add conversation about the answers to COVID, right? Our response being as bad or worse than the actual disease itself. Like the cure, I know people get pissed off when people say this, but the cure can't be worse than the disease. Now, they'll say, oh, that's baloney. We've had 200,000 people die. I agree. I mean, one death is one death too many. But the lasting impact, just take your children, for instance. They got to go to school. I know this is not what we want to hear. And we think, man, we want to keep our children safe, and I agree with that. But children need to be in schools. I think their educational attainment level, their social skills, they're getting angry. I saw on the news the other day a young man, an 11-year-old in California, shot himself on Zoom, killed himself. It is a social, and the lockdown is destroying lives as well. And I can't quantify that. I don't know if it's going to change and destroy lives versus, that's a terrible countermeasure to do a value there, right? Like, well, does this life matter more than this life? That's a terrible discussion to have, and it's very difficult. What I do know is that as mayor, I would not be shutting any of these businesses down. We had to be smart about social distancing and mask wearing. I would encourage mask wearing because we can keep businesses open if we do. That's it. And you have to trust businesses to run and do their jobs and be educators, right? Not litigators, not law enforcement. That's what we saw with people calling and ratting out businesses that 90% of the time, they're not even violating the rules. So I don't think we can be that as a city. I don't think we can sit there. I think you have to have courage in the face of it as well, but be smart to wear your mask and be protective. And look, trust it if you walk into Viola's Ventanas on 151 and you sit down going to have your caldo for the night. Trust that there's space, masks are being worn, people are getting taken care of. Be mindful of yourself. I think that is the approach. We do not shut it down. We bring it back up. We hire people. We get back into it. We spend the money we have to hire these people back. Bars, restaurants, employees, auto dealerships, working at the dang car wash, all these jobs that City Hall apparently, well, not apparently, literally does not care about being gone or lost. Take a tourism industry, for instance. I mean, the tourism industry's destroyed. And we have to think about something as large as the Alamo itself, right? Like the Alamo program. It's the crown jewel, man. The Alamo is the cradle of Texas liberty, and City Hall can't even get that right? They can't even get that right, and that's our number one tourist destination. People want to come in there and walk through a plaza and enjoy the Alamo, its history, and be thankful for Texas rights when Texas rights are totally under attack over here. City Hall can't even get that right. So just some thoughts on that, but I think you got to keep it open. You got to put children in school, and you got to get it done. I know that today people are worried and concerned. They're scared about schools, right? So schools right now in San Antonio press forward with in-person learning amid waves of COVID-19. My son goes to school, and he will continue to, and credit my wife for that decision-making process. She sat down and said, we're going to put our son in school, and he's going to go learn. He's going to wear his mask and just be mindful. And we trust the school. I don't think we've been successful as a city leaning on those principles, but we have to open back up and have a life. And at this point, I think people, in my opinion, are fed up with it, and it's going to be interesting to see. I mean, the mayor and the judge continue to go on television. There's absolutely no positivity to it, man. I don't know about this, but I trust in our citizens to do what's right, and we have to educate them and help them get there, yes, but destroying their rights and holding them down and forcing them to turn on each other, and that's not a way to lead a city. None of that matters. And if we have the money, we need to spend it to help these people. So, for instance, if I can help A restaurant hire back employees because I reduce their taxes, their commercial property taxes. I lower their CPS energy bills. Whatever I can do to help them, I'm going to do it so that they can hire back.
As a mayor, Greg.
People making money, I'll leave you with this thought. People making money, increasing their quality of life, economic mobility is the answer to our success. Immediate success is people making money.
Yeah. Greg, what about from a city point of view? Let's say you're a leader, you're a mayor, right? For example, if we're trying to not get COVID. One of the reasons you get it is because it attacks your immune system, right? What about any plans at the city level to say, why don't we do something proactive not to get sick? Not just COVID, but say, you know what can the city do to say, okay, let's start a program that helps people in their health, not just fitness, but suggestions or recommendations or classes to help them take care of their immune system. Can a city do that?
Yeah, of course. City does it right now. We've seen the city come in and help the Healthy Food Initiative down in District 3, where they're helping get fresh vegetables in local corner stores to help people have a better diet.
District 3.
In District 3. I think Rebecca Villagran worked on that. What we also see with COVID, and from what I've been reading, again, I'm not an expert in these areas, I'm not a doctor, but what I do see is that pre-existing conditions really such as diabetes and other health-related issues are complicating these COVID cases. So is there an answer to what you're saying? You're exactly right. Fresh vegetables, quality food, different types of economic attainment so people can buy a little bit better every day. I think those things are something we're going to learn coming out of this as well, right? Like,
because they tell us, okay, take medicine, but they don't tell us something to prevent the need to be taking the medicine. It's the weirdest thing. Like, we're always on the back end.
Yeah, they go straight to the medicine.
Yeah,
straight to the medicine.
We're trying to fix it on the back end, not on the front end.
Yeah. So what do we got here? We got some comments. All the random bills that were passed in the election help declining. Individuals should be allowed to make choices best for them and their families. Yes, Lisa, we agree. She's not taking advantage of it. What else we got up in here? The PCR test is worthless. Eat vitamins, vitamin D. Eat healthy, vitamin D or zinc. That's a good point. Yes, shut down. Ooh, Lily says shut it down. Okay. Hey, we've got somebody who says shut it down. It's not certain, but people will be that could cure cancer too. And they harass you if you test positive. I wonder what Michelle's talking about. The Great Northwest Library does not allow people in. The city prefers to take care of themselves, not the citizens. Metro Health is begging healthy people to get tested, no symptoms. John Rios, hello, how are you doing? Depression is on the rise. Suicide is up. Domestic violence is up. Child abuse is up. Locking things down and isolating people. We're learning that, and that's going to be a huge, I think, takeaway from all of this is people, I think now more than ever, are embracing this need that perhaps we are a more interconnected community, right? We all got hung up and always complaining, right, that we're isolated. We live on the phone, right? We're hanging out at the restaurant. We're all on the phone. People don't talk or communicate anymore. They live on this little baby or their computer or their MacBook or their iPad or whatever. I think what we're learning is that people miss this interconnectivity as much as they miss just being out, right, doing different things. And that's across the country. So our people, like elected officials will say, people are rebelling in their, no, they're not. People aren't rebelling. People are just exercising their rights to have and live a life and to make decisions for themselves. And we've got ourselves in this position where we recognize, I think a lot of people recognize, I don't know, we had a great Thanksgiving. I think it was wonderful. It was much more smaller in nature. But I think to a T, all of us probably missed some aspect of what it has always been. And we cannot say shut that down. We cannot say shove your kid on a computer and put them upstairs and let them do their distance learning and wish them the best of luck, right? No matter how great we build this bubble, it is a bubble. Human life and interaction depends on daylight, interaction, talking, conversation. The human interaction is what's missing a lot of this. And I think that balance is very hard for elected officials to find. I envy nobody having to make those decisions. But when you make them in a vacuum, when you make the decisions without participating with other people or asking what happens in our city or who we are, what we believe, that is where we run into the problems. When you're the only one knowing the decision and you're jamming it down the throats of small business owners or residents in our community, that is where the breakdown is occurring. And how we respond to that and how we come out of this is very important. And we will see that grow as over the next few days we see these Thanksgiving exposures start to ratchet it up. It's going to come back down again. And then Christmas, they've encouraged you to limit your Christmas, if not outright, don't do it. You at home, and that's it. We're going to see sometime around 10th or so of January an uptick in cases again, and that should, at that point, ratchet down from then on out because there's nothing coming up until spring break. And at that time, we're distributing vaccine, and we're getting into a completely different discussion. So, look, you can't fault people. I think inherently people want to make the right decisions. I think where they get sideways is they think they have all the answers at City Hall. And I think they have proven beyond a reasonable doubt that they don't know what the hell they're doing. And they literally don't include people in these decisions. And that is just as dangerous as making the wrong decision, is the lack of inclusion and making sure everybody knows what's coming your way. It's been that way since March when all this started, all right? So that's where we're at. Man, big discussion right there. We better start wrapping up. We got some memes. So I've got some of them selected. Put them up on me here. Look, thank you. I'll close up in a second, but I want to do some memes and give you some laughs. Put me up on there, buddy. I'm going to select, right there. We'll start right there. Yeah, stop moving to Texas. Yes, California. Don't San Francisco, my Texas buddy. Not going to happen to you. I thought about this one right here because this one made me laugh. I've actually been getting into Mindhunter and other things on Netflix. What if Bob Ross was a serial killer and his paintings are locations where he hid dead bodies? That is a Mindhunter meme that I thought everybody would be getting involved in. And I love this one, Mandalorian before quarantine versus after quarantine. You know, the legendary Quarantine 15, that Stormtrooper's got some problems. And I don't know if you're watching The Mandalorian, but if you have Disney Plus, you've got to be watching The Mandalorian. It's absolutely amazing. And I love this one right here. Chuck Norris and Jean-Claude Van Damme. I just love Chuck Norris, man. I love Chuck Norris. Come on, give me a break. All right, let's see here. Of course, we like this one right here. I want the truth. Facebook keeps banning the truth. You know what? I've been banned from Facebook recently, too. I think I did for like a day. I have other people that are on the 30-day ban. Here's The Mandalorian right here when you wake up feeling a bit. I love the child. This is the child from The Mandalorian, Baby Yoda. When you put some coffee in your cuppy cup and take the first sippy sip. So the child's name is Grogu. And if you watch The Mandalorian, it is the most fantastic series right now on any streaming service. Disney Plus, watch it. Check this monolith out. This is the newest one that popped up. That's amazing. Those things are popping up absolutely everywhere. My son's going to get a Nintendo Switch. That's a Christmas gift every child would be happy with. My kids keep asking, Dad, can I get a Nintendo Switch? Wow! There's another great one right here. I love this one. Yep. Yo, Adrian, I got us a PS5. I'm trying my best to get a PS5. I really am. It is not easy. I do not want to sell a child to get one. We can now officially watch Christmas Vacation. I watched this day before yesterday. If you need a pick-me-up, watch Christmas Vacation. It's absolutely amazing. This is my house, in case you didn't know. Hide packages from my husband. That's a hidden package right there. Funny FedEx guy. I don't know if this works for you, Salo, but my house over the last couple of years has become an Amazon and a FedEx drop spot. Like, I don't know what it is, but my wife has perfected the art. She's perfected the art of an Amazon. I think I have an Amazon warehouse at my front door. My wife, I can't go home without there being an Amazon box. Who else is like that? It could be the husband doing it too. Let's be honest here. It could be a husband making the purchases. I have my purchases sent to my post office box. I'm kidding. But is your wife or spouse an Amazon, addicted to Amazon? Do you go home and there's boxes there every day? Yeah. That's me. All right. This is right here trying to get my finances in order. Exactly. I love it. This house is not haunted. Little real estate jokes. That's a great selling tool. I love it. And finally, right here, you can't weld, but when you're a sick carpenter. I actually saw a car like that wrapped up in San Antonio. It's absolutely fantastic. And then, bro, on his 9th life, he ain't taking no chances. Look at that. That cat's masked up. Yeah, he's masked up there. If you had 6 minutes left to live, what's the last song you'd listen to? I'd spend the whole 6 minutes trying to pick a song. That's me on Netflix, by the way. My wife hates it. I go in there and try to choose the Netflix, and it just doesn't happen. I'll leave you with this one. I'll leave you with this one right here. Oh, oops. I made this sign for you, Ron. I love this little girl. Bold. The little girl sign says the only thing easier to buy than a gun is a politician. That's real. Yeah. And this is what I'll leave you with. I'm that old on the Scantron. Or excuse me, that's a scan test. Scantrons. Remember those? Yeah. So it's not that's how they vote in Georgia. That's a Dominion voting. Don't get started on the conspiracy stuff. We're going to be here all night. It's going to be insane. We need to go down that road. Okay. We spent a lot of time tonight just talking through restaurants and small businesses and city overreach and all these other things. Just know this, right? I'll close with this. Still live in the greatest city, in the greatest state, in the greatest nation on the planet. This too shall pass. For me, it's a faith thing. Wasn't always great at faith. Trying every day to get a little bit better. I do say a prayer for our city. I try to think about, getting a little bit better every day, right? And that's, if I learned anything out of all this pandemic stuff and this government decision making and all these politics and all this other stuff, is that you can't believe everything that comes out of City Hall. You got to verify for yourself and ultimately do what's right for you and your family. If you do it from a faith decision, that's your call. If you do it from a science decision, that's your call. But this I will tell you, somewhere along the road here, we've lost what San Antonio really is, and how we make decisions and how we care for each other. And as simple as turning people against each other to be making phone calls, destroying small businesses in the name of public safety, right? In the name of a pandemic. So you can go on TV every day and say, this many people died, this many cases, we're shutting this down. We do have to have leadership that's a team together that unites and talks about the things going forward in the future. One of the biggest problems we have is a fractured and broken City Hall. Just watch. Just go back and look at every briefing, every update for the last 8 months. The council's not together. They're not working as a team. They don't know what the hell's going on with each other. They don't know. A random thought may come up from a council member here and there, but just watch. They're not part of it. And when they're not part of the decision, there's not a team making these leadership decisions. People aren't involved and that information doesn't get out there. Bad policy happens and information and ideas that lack the input from the entire city. Now you can say, Greg, we need the scientists leading this. We don't need Okay. Science is a fact of the decision, just like faith is also. I will say it and put it on the table. It is just as important to keep a church open as it is a restaurant, as it is a bar. In fact, it is more important in a lot of circles in our city, including my circle, that the church is open as well. Because that faith component is going to get a great majority of our city through this. Faith and science can go hand in hand. The decision-making process can be together, a group of people working to make the decisions so that together they move forward with things and ideas and implementation of fact, faith, and basic principles that are going to lead our city. There's nothing wrong with that. And then we got to stop this shame game where we're trying to tear each other apart. And I'm not talking about City Hall. You run for office, you put your name on the line, be prepared to be torn apart. That's just what's going to happen. You're going to be held accountable for it. But citizen to citizen, no, that's not who we are. So I hope we get back to some of that, and I hope people understand that it's okay to rebel. It's okay to get out there and put your thoughts on there. Be mindful of each other. Hopefully we'll get to that leadership where people recognize that and it gets there. We're thankful for you. We'll be back next week. Be prepared because eventually we're going to turn this off for the rest of the year. And we will come back in January rebranded with talk of future politics and what that means. It's coming soon enough, but for right now, we're thankful for you. We appreciate you. Get out there, wear your mask, do your best, take care of each other, and always remember, greatest city, greatest state, greatest nation. We're a part of it. Don't forget that. This too shall pass, and we will get there together. Take it easy. The broadcast is out.